Far Cry 3, Far Cry 4 and 5 I feel are very strong video games. 3 may be the pioneer of those aforementioned titles, but 4 is certainly not weak with its villain or its location, and that has just been announced today that a 9th generation patch is dropping for it tonight. So yeah, 2014's Far Cry 4 is getting a 9th generation patch this evening on the 30th. They did this with Syndicate, the Assassin's Creed game, and it proved extremely popular on the channel, so I will 100% have to cover it. Purely coincidentally, I have been playing Far Cry 5 recently. Sony owners do not have a PlayStation 5 version of this game. It still sits on the HD drive and still has the PS4 insignia. Pretty tragic, really. 2018, I thought they may roll something out. Also, that year. 2018. If you know, you know. This isn't my first rodeo with Far Cry 5 on the PC against other Far Cry games on a console. I produced a list of the best modern Far Cry games. I ranked 3, 4 and 5. One of the worst performing videos I ever made. I will include the outro at the end of the video. I very much doubt this one's going to do much better, but I feel it's important to talk about its greatness, particularly in this PS4 PC vein that I'm pushing out at the moment. I've never seen this game look so good, and we are looking at full-blown ultra 60 frames per second. Just the detail on the bow, on the arrow, bro. I did not get time to wallow in this greatness enough when compiling that list, so I feel a second swing is definitely in order. Also, America has gone through quite a lot since 2018, and using this game as a sort of measuring stick against that, I can hand on heart say it would never be made now. Never. Way too pro-American for a start. He also concentrates on the message that cults are bad. Extremist, exclusionary groups are not a good thing. But enough about that Lords of the Fallen subreddit. Can we have a look at these graphics, please? Getting on and off vehicles, trying to look for screen tear, V-syncers on. Everything is so good, but it does drop frames in areas I'm in denial of it because I want to keep everything at that ultra level. And yeah, to say the fan is working overtime is an understatement. I could probably cure some dried meats off the top of the PC when this thing's running. And don't worry, we do get that control UI off. That is extremely annoying, but it is handy to see how many options you have on vehicle combat. You can throw stuff, shoot stuff, look 160 degrees around you. You can't have a third person external view, unfortunately, but it's kind of very workable, particularly for a Far Cry game.
Look out, stupid! Coming to kill you!
Want to make something very clear before we move forward. I take no pleasure in killing animals in video games. I hate hunting games, I hate shooting birds, anything like that, but they have tied it in with the economy. It is a necessity to take stuff down, everything that you see, because the guns are so badass, and the only way to get them ranked up quick enough is to murder everything with 4, 2 or even 1 leg. Friggin' apple, right? HDR isn't even on. How vivid and beautiful was that apple? I missed it because I was blabbering about killing animals.
Embrace it.
The pumpkin farm. This is something I do remember from the PS4 playthrough, and returning to these locations with that ultra tab on, it's just a whole new lick of paint. It's a whole new goddamn engine is what it feels like. Dust, mist, explosions, smoke, the grass moving around, the wind, when planes come over, all the trees flutter. It's just unreal how much better this looks top end PC, and that's why I will be going straight to 4 once it lands on Game Pass, in theory tomorrow, to check out what that looks like on its top settings, because the 9th generation console patch is just a 60 frame lock, and I'm pretty sure that game's resolution isn't amazing. I was being mean to a larger creator in their comments about Outlaws. I was standing up for it because I personally feel that that was Ubisoft's sort of last swing at trying to be normal, right? Trying to cater for their single player legacy audience. Plus they were hitting the Star Wars now quite well on the head. One of the subscribers to the creator chimed in, and I think this is a valid point, with the fact that Ubisoft as a company, when you look at it chronologically over the years, has actually not laid off but lost a lot of its older talent. And I think 2018, 2019 may be the cutoff for that departure, and now it just operates as this sort of chimera with the face of the old games on it, but behind the scenes it's not the same thing. And this is evident with stuff like Skull and Bones and the way they handled Shadows. It was such a mess. Whether that game's actually any good or not is another kettle of fish, another kettle of koi carp. This game, against other open worlds today, does feel like it's a little bit broken. Now, I mean this in the most complimentary way possible. There is never any downtime, ever, particularly if you're near one of the roads or main travel routes. Always has something coming around the corner, always has a bear about 10 feet in front of you. It can actually get quite exhausting at times, but the whole while you're thinking there's nothing around like this today. It also feels very pro-Republican, very America proud. There's not a lot of Tim Waltz in here. Again, that is a message that I cannot see in a million years Ubisoft pushing out nowadays. Because of the game's location, it's set in Montana, there's quite a lot of redneckery around. There's the Testy Fest, which is the testicle festival. There's so many pops at that part of culture, but it's done from a good place. The evil people are the Christian extremists, which is, again, subject matter that probably wouldn't get touched nowadays. The more you play it, the more you realise this is a massive one-off for the series. It also pulls back on the music strength. I think 4 has got okay music, 3's probably got some of the best in the whole series, but 5 is also extremely strong, offering some unique angles on the subject. Loads of it was written ground up for the game. There's choirs, there's religious aspects to some of the songs. It's just haunting, an excellent soundtrack for the series. This dialogue here, this caught me off guard, I'm not going to lie. Remember, this is a Ubisoft game.
Can't thank you enough for getting rid of those fucking cultists.
I've got to show a little bit of flex here. This is interior to exterior color saturation. You see a lot of this nowadays. I remember Metal Gear 5 doing it also back then. Coming out of this window and then seeing everything return to the daylight settings, just amazing. Have you spotted a frame drop yet? There's a few that have gone past. There's a lot more coming up. The dynamic light from the clouds also, having the sun temporarily obscured by a cloud or something else, and then it returning to normal. The water, the way almost every blade of grass seems to be moving. And I know all of this fuss has been made before, but some of you may not realise how good looking it is over on PC. You might have just gone to it over on 8th gen and it's still sitting on your shelf at 8th gen physical. They need to run a PS5 9th generation patch for this game on all of it, not just 60 frames and a 4K. I want to see those effects sliders right up to the top like we have with every goddamn PC version of a Ubisoft game. When I was talking about there not being any downtime, I wasn't taking into account the awesome fishing mechanics in the game. I'm quite into fishing mini games within an open world map. Stellar Blade's got a really cool one. Red Dead Redemption 2's fishing mechanics are so detailed they got their own video, and this is no exception, offering a massive roster of fish that you can catch. This goes hard on bass, and all the equipment and locations is kind of quite a lot of fun. And you can't get run over or eaten by a bear whilst you're doing it.
Yeah.
It manages quite a clever thing with the map, and we have seen that before, and again that does follow suit with a lot of Ubisoft's other games, and that is having quite a wide scope on some of your early missions, characters you can develop, places you can go. You have 3 like mini counties within this state, and you can level up the relationships with every individual in them. And this also gives you a new support partner, loads more money, even access to better weaponry, more importantly, vehicles. I think Cheeseburger the bear and Peaches the mountain lion are two of my favourites. The dog is awesome to start with. The human players are kind of a bit annoying, and that's where I saw some performance issues, was when I had the support plane buzzing around all the time. The frames were not coping well with that, which is kind of devastating because the airborne combat and traversal mechanics are one of the flagship sellers of this Far Cry. It was all about planes, basically, helicopters flying all over county, crop sprayers, but dang, I'm not putting it down to high, I'm not doing it.
Everyone get ready, here it comes!
This is a great piece of footage. It covers the good and bad about the game in 2025. Some of those red highlights around the enemies, they do look horrendous. They're super handy to work out where everybody is, but they haven't added to the game's image too well in hindsight. But they have kept the traditional tagging system and the almost redundant binoculars. But swinging back to the compliments, this is just amazing. I'm going over the bridge. I'm going to go and get Seed's brother. It's time to open up another section of that map. Me and my dog, we just go herring over this bridge. Everything felt magical. And back to the game's variables, back to that comment about me saying that it's almost broken. When you rock up somewhere, you have no idea what's going to go down. In some open world games, you have a sort of concept, don't you, about how it's all going to be laid out, who's going to be in that camp, how you're going to fight them all. Far Cry 5 does such a good job of keeping you guessing, and with all the sounds, noises and dialogue that come out of the people you're fighting, you are never bored with taking over a new camp or getting to a new area. That also brings me on to why this is on the channel now. Because of that announcement of 4, I was like, Christ, I need to put a video together because there may be some SEO on Far Cry with that announcement going down. But I was actually playing this in my sort of own spare time as a bit of video game. If you make content, sometimes you have to play games to get them on the channel. Stuff like South of Midnight, just had Oblivion go past, Atom 4, a whole bunch of new stuff that I had to play, get it out on the upload, and then move on to the next thing. But this was genuinely something I wanted to look at, not have to upload, but just ended up straight on the channel. I did want to talk about weapon and weapon ownership and how they've nailed it with the cosmetics and accessories and the customization. You can see I've got well obsessed with this standard pistol. When you rank that thing up, it is pretty formidable. All the silencers are purchasable, and even the paints, skins, magazine clips. I've just upgraded to the MP5 and it's like, wow, but you do have a chance to lose that weapon by picking up something else by accident and then not being able to find it again, having to return to a vendor to get it back in that slot. It's not the most simple of processes, but it's certainly a strong aspect. Briefly should also talk about the photo mode and the fact that you can get Vass as a character to play as. Now there's all this weird stuff with the online version of the game and cosmetics for your character, even though it's a first person shooter, but that would be externally if you were playing multiplayer. Every mission has a sort of co-op angle to it. Again, it is a symptom of its time with pushing all of that online service stuff at you, but there's still great base level single player content there and not a terrible photo mode. Ballistically, right, the physics are still ridiculously strong. You see where every bullet lands, they have a trajectory plunge. It's unbelievably good still. It's like Somalian pirate footage good. I'll cut that bit out.
My cousin said she overheard some cultists talking about Dead Man's Mill. They think...
Keep away from the truck!
I do want to talk about the villains lastly. We have Joseph Seed, played played by Greg Bright. Not a massive name, then again Vass's actor wasn't, if my memory serves me correctly, but it's kind of the supporting cast that have sold me on this. It's Faith Seed, the girl, that gets me. Her tragic backstory, the whole sort of religious aspects when she was vulnerable, indoctrination. It's a pretty tragic story. It pushes on you to empathize a little bit. Combined with that haunting choir-like soundtrack, her cutscenes are quite literally not of this earth.
I'm scared. The father told her this was her test. He would have faith in her if she had faith in him. So she closed her eyes and left. The father kept his word. The path to Eden is clear to those who have faith.
Last I heard on the CD, they were spotted down near Spirit River.
If you're not a fan of Ubisoft anymore, that is totally understandable. I want it to be clear that their Far Cry games, particularly 3, 4 and 5, were really strong and still are really strong. They're like time capsules. They're well worth looking at if you've never gone near them. That is something that blows my mind. There will be people out there who have not played any of those 3 games mentioned, and that must change. Getting to see a true remaster remake of 3 would be a dream come true. I think we're all in agreement of that. The next video is going to be 4, hopefully, if everything goes well. What was that you were talking about? That trailer that you made? Don't make me play it. It's the kiss of death, mate. It landed that video with nothing. Bro, you're at 16 minutes. I think you're pretty safe. My name was Couch Coop. I will see you down there.
Walk the path.
Couldn't fucking do that! Fuck out of here, chicken fuck! Run, Forrest! Run! Shut the fuck up! Okay? I'm the one with the fucking dick.